of March in this year 2022. Welcome and thank you so much for choosing to be with us on yet another very must have rained in some parts of the country, but in Kampala Metropolitan, Wakiso, we had some very mild and slight drizzles this morning, but that's all something we need to appreciate and thank God for. Now, welcome and let's get straight to the conversation this morning. And of course, joining me in studios is Angela Karisa. She's a communication specialist from the Uganda National Oil Company. You're welcome, Karisa.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jagenda. It's a pleasure to be here.
Very good. Happy to have you this morning, and thank you so much for having allowed to join me and, of course, be here on Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Thank you for having me.
What do you do with UNOC?
I talk.
You talk.
I explain the very hard details in very simple.
Okay.
So I'm in charge of explaining things simply.
Okay.
Yes.
Explain to them. Decipher that.
Yes. So what this means is that we are a company for the Ugandan market. So there are international oil companies that are in the oil space of Uganda, and so it was necessary that there was a Ugandan company to do this same business so that the Ugandan citizen benefits from this important resource. So a law was put into place, a company was enacted, and we have a mandate to operate across the petroleum value chain that is in the upstream, in the midstream, and in the downstream. Really, those are big terms, but what they really mean is that in upstream, we go into there, we apply for a license to the Ministry of Energy, we get a license that allows us to go into operation. So we go with this operating license, we see if there is enough commercially viable oil in a space, then we pull it out, what we now call exploration. So once it's out, we go into now the midstream, which includes refining and transportation and gas production. So therefore, you put it in a pipeline that takes it to a refinery. We put it in a feeder pipeline that takes it to a refinery, cleans out all the things that will, because if you pull oil out of the soil, it will come with soil and water and all these things. So you put it in the refinery, it's then cleaned, and then it now goes into storage terminals, and you've had the longest heated pipeline in the world. So the oil finally reaches the international market, while some of it is used in country. So that's basically what UNOC does in a nutshell, in a very simple way.
Who owns UNOC?
Who owns UNOC? UNOC is owned by, we have two shareholders, the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. So Uganda owns UNOC.
Okay,
Yes.
So it's a company?
Yes, it is your company.
It's a company.
And our logo, our tagline is to explore the resource on behalf of all Ugandans. Yes, so it is your company. So I'm doing the job for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Just before I get into all the other niceties, not so long ago, when we had a problem with the rising prices in fuel, in fuel, at the fueling stations, because Ugandans understand oil when it is at the refueling station.
Fuel station.
That's how they understand. Say a liter is this or that or that, and it came to a notice that Uganda actually privatized its reserves, because that's what was our fallback position. And all of us leaders, politicians, etc., were saying we do not even have the reserves because Uganda sold its own reserves. So if we depleted, then we depleted. What about that? Let's get to understanding that.
Okay, first of all, the reserves, for example, the storage terminal in Jinja, belongs to UNOC.
It belongs to our company.
It is belonging to your company. So I don't know about this whole
And people take crude water.
No. Now this is a resource.
Exactly. Because
this is a resource that is so deep into the earth surface,
the earth crust or so.
that you cannot just, it's not like you can poke in a straw and pull out clean oil, you see. You have to use such massive technology to pull it out.
Which we already have.
No, which is coming,
okay.
which is going to be part of the big investment. Now that the final investment decision has been taken,
the FID.
You will start to now see the big, huge equipment on the roads heading to Hoima. Then you will know now something big is happening. I think you recently saw, I think PM piping, it brought pipelines. It brought big, huge pipes. I'm sure you couldn't have missed that, because now that shows you, okay, things are beginning to progress.
So for those who are saying, we take the crude and use the crude.
The oil is in the ground. There is no way the president can call the president of Tanzania. We have this big ceremony for a lie, you know? And all these companies are here and they're investing so much capital for a lie. So I want to inform Ugandans, the oil is still in the ground. We will pull it out. You will see it in this lifetime. You will enjoy its benefits, especially if you are ready and prepared.
Nobody has tested it already.
No.
It is still in the ground.
The oil that we pulled out was test crude, what we call test crude. First of all, you need to see what type of oil is it. That's where you now understand that it's waxy. It's waxy oil. How much do we really have enough to cause this whole? Yes, it is enough. And that oil is in good storage, and everybody goes there and knows where it is. The rest of the oil is intact and in the ground.
Very good. Now, the latest about our oils, or the oil journey, is the FID, which I think we signed a month or two ago.
Yes.
Now, it was, I think, February. Yes, and it was everywhere. Of course, it covered the whole conversation space, the FID, which is the final investment decision. Ever since we did that, and that was undertaken, again, explain to the country, what does that mean? Where are we a couple of days or weeks later?
Weeks later. Okay, so the taking of the final investment decision, and you see, as a communication person, I don't like going around saying FID, final investment decision, because then you expect that everybody in the country understands what that is.
What an FID is, or what a final investment decision is.
But what it just basically means is that we have parties at the table who are going to pump money into this project. And now all parties have agreed to their share. If we said you will bring 3 billion, you will bring 15 billion, you will bring, everybody has agreed, and we have taken that decision that yes, let's go ahead with what everybody was assigned to do and indeed do this project. So that's what has been done in very simple terms. So what does that then open up to after we have agreed? It now opens up to what I always hear people saying, EPC contracts. But what is EPC? It just simply means now procurement contracts for these things to happen are going to be awarded to different companies. We need these kind of things, we need this kind of technology, we need, so we are now going to give contracts to companies that are able to do these things, okay? So that's immediately after that FID, final investment decision has been taken, we're going to giving official contracts to different companies. So UNOC will find which company is going to deliver this to us. Total will go find companies that will, then those companies will subcontract other companies, because sometimes the job is so massive that you as a company will not do it alone. So after final investment decision, a lot of contracts are being awarded. Money is beginning to seriously flow into the country. Now I need companies that are small in whatever way to be prepared to subcontract these big companies. If we need trucks like the ones I saw taking pipes.
The pipes, yes.
We need such a number of trucks to take them. Make sure you're ready with your trucks. If we need drivers that are going to drive those trucks. So it slowly cascades down into a big multiplier effect. So that's what final investment decision really means for the country. So for these 3 projects whose final investment decision has been taken, Telinga, Kingfisher, and East African Crude Oil Pipeline, an equity amount of $8 billion US will be pumped into this economy. So you can just imagine the impact. And I don't know how much I can beg Ugandans to prepare.
So Telinga is one field,
Yes.
Kingfisher is another field. The biggest, I think, is Tilenga.
Yes.
Tilenga is the biggest.
It has EA1, EA2, and EA3, I think. And then we have the East African crude oil pipeline.
The pipeline now.
Yes.
That takes us from Kabale up to
Tanga,
Tanzania. The 1,445 kilometers.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there's certain things that we cannot, of course, discuss on or even change or do anything to them. If, for example, the percentages of who gets what, who earns what, that's already
decided.
Water,
yes.
It's water under the bridge. Very good. Now it just comes to the wananchi, Karisa and Semakola. Where do we benefit from this thing? We talk about all these things, but when you talk about these very big projects, then Patrick Ratoro cannot afford it.
Now, me, I'm not part.
Exactly. When you talk about those big projects now, what is in that thing? Because the conference that we had here in 2017, I think, where we had President Mbaso Gongwema, it was the logistics program conference, and then, of course, trying to ring fence some jobs for local content, specifically Ugandans. Which are some of these, and how can Ugandans actually, you're talking about begging them, how can they come into this thing? Because this is not a 1, 2, 3, 4 day project. It's carrying on until 2025 when we'll get our first oils. What do they need to do?
Yeah, so as I've explained to you, the projects, the 3 projects that FID has been taken for are Tilinga, Kingfisher, and East African. Now, these projects are going to create about 160,000 jobs. But within these 160,000 jobs, there will be
160,000 jobs.
But within, they are broken down in 2 categories. There will be direct jobs, there will be indirect jobs, and then there will be induced jobs. Direct jobs will basically include very technical skills. The people that will actually be working on the oil rigs, you know, those wellhead servicing, rig hire, and that kind of thing. And then there will be the indirect jobs who now come, like, let's say, the people in field transportation and those kind of things. Then induced, who is going to feed these people, you know? We are creating camps along the pipeline route. These people will need to eat. These people will need to go to hospital. Their children will need to go to school. Because you have about 300 kilometers from the Hoima to the border. Exactly. So, and then there will be camps, let's say, of 4,000 men inside there, 1,000 men and women. And so these people will need this kind of resources. So that kind of thing then creates more need for other skills and other services in there. So the jobs are immense. Now, how do Ugandans prepare for them? Or how do they tap? How do me and you tap into these jobs? First of all, as you have explained, there are ring-fenced opportunities that have been put there, that these jobs will only be done by Ugandans. We don't want to see a person coming from China doing this job. You have to be Ugandan. And please note that I can come from China and I am Ugandan by citizenship. So if you are a Ugandan citizen, you do these jobs. So they've put out jobs like HR, legal firms, communications, crane hire, waste management, to some extent. So the security, the companies that are going to be securing these camps and taking care of should be Ugandan companies. We don't want to find a security company flying in from another country. So there are immense jobs that have 16 jobs that have been put there.
160,000?
No, 16 categories.
All categories
that have been put.
Security, welding,
exactly, catering, human resource, communications, 16 categories that have been ring-fenced for Ugandans. Now, the issue then becomes, how do you prepare? So the thing is, Petroleum Authority of Uganda went and created a database where if you have a company, you go into the National Supplier Database and you register this company there. And then also if you as a person did a certain degree, you register under the National Talent Register. So that when international companies come here, those that have more high tech than us, but they are looking for lawyers, they are looking for communicators, they're looking for IT experts, they can easily find them on the National Supplier. Exactly. So I want those who have their certification, their degrees to register there under the National Talent Register. Those who have on PAU, Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Those who have their small businesses, you know, you do catering, you know, you're into communication, you have a communication firm, or you have a welding, you will register your company there under the National Supplier Database. That way it's easy for them to find you and easy to subcontract you so that you fit into this. But then I also want to let you Ugandans know that there are these people, we have a group of people that have no education and are not registering any companies. Those two will tap into the oil, into the oil industry, especially
from the induced.
Yes, from the induced. But you see, the supply needed is going to be so huge, so that me as an individual growing tomatoes, I will not handle the supply. So please form associations with other tomato growers. In that way, you have a lot of supply, and you can supply camps, and you can supply your eggs, your milk, you know, form associations.
Thank you so much, Angela. Hold it there. We'll take a break and return very shortly after this break, then carry on with a conversation over Uganda's oil sector. And of course, with me in studios is Angela Karisa. She's an expert at communications from the Uganda National Oils Company. We'll return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Did you know that wasting water like that is causing harm to the environment? Did you know that water is vital for agriculture, industries, transport, energy, amidst other growing demands?
You mean water is that important?
Be in class now. Water resources are part of the environment, and their sustainable management and development is key in mitigating the increasing risks and shocks related to climate change. Join the Uganda Water and Environment Week 2022 from 28th to 25th March 2022 under the theme Water and Environment for Peace and Socio-Economic Transformation of Uganda, as we discuss the role of water and environment resource management and development in promoting peace and stability. The Uganda Water and Environment Week is organized by the Ministry of Water and Environment through the Water Resources Institute in collaboration with other partners. For more information, call 0782 662205 or 0753 153791.
Mirinda.
Grab yourself an ice-cold bottle of Mirinda Orange at any shop or supermarket near you. Mirinda Orange, the taste that makes you go OMG.
It's time to teach. Schools are open. In these days of COVID-19, teachers are not only giving knowledge, but protecting themselves and their students from the virus. As a teacher, you must ensure that students follow the set SOPs of always maintaining a distance of 2 meters from others in classrooms, dormitories, entertainment halls, school vans and playgrounds, wearing a washed and clean mask every day that covers their mouths and noses, and regularly washing their hands with soap and water. In addition to that, you must counsel students about stigma related to COVID-19 and discourage them from violence. Any violence against students from classmates, teachers or parents should be reported immediately to a school administrator or senior woman or man teacher for correction and further guidance. Ensuring everyone's safety is key, so make sure students are out of class by the official closing time. Let's share knowledge, not COVID-19. This message is supported by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports, and UNICEF. Stay safe.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, thank you so much and welcome back from the break. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka, continuing with our conversation on our Good Morning Uganda Extra on this day. And with me in studios is Angela Karisa, a communications expert from the Uganda National Oils Company, talking about this thing. Now, back to you, Angela. Thank you so much for this conversation. This project is going through about 10 or so districts of Uganda to cross over to Mutukula when it gets to Tanzania. And one of the challenges that we've had in this country, I had an opportunity when the president let now Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli of Tanzania visited Uganda for the first time. We were in Masaka. And I personally asked him this question about land compensation. Now, the land law in Tanzania is much different from what we have here. Ours is a compensation affair. Just a few days ago, we had Minister General Katumba Wamala say, we are actually doing this Busega Express, Busega Mpiji. And one family wants 500 million shillings, and it's actually halting and you know, slowing our progress.
Because
it's about compensation. Exactly. It's about compensation. Let's talk about the compensation. 10 districts is such a huge number of people, pubs, etc. What have you done with those? Are they compensated, or our investors who start doing jobs and again get on the way to actually say we're still sorting the Karisas and the Senakulas of this world?
Well, the ECOP team is pushing seriously to get all these people compensated. Okay. And so we are going to start off with people who have no grievances, because you know, in a big team of people, there will always be those that are for and those that are against, and they have their own reasons. So compensation of the project affected persons is beginning. It's beginning this very year, and we are starting with compensating those who have no grievances. And then of course you have to go case by case for the different grievances and see how they can easily be managed. But otherwise the process is going on, it's ongoing. So we will see, and we are hopeful. So far how things are looking, we are hopeful that it will be concluded in a good way. Okay.
Ugandans have a lot of trust in their political leaders, especially those at the elected council level. And it's only in this country, it is in this country that politics is the biggest employer. Now, we do not have a district that does not have a head. We do not have a council that does not have councillors. We do not have a local village that does not have a chairperson at the council. Now, all these are there. What's their will like with this particular program? Now, we'll talk about 10 districts, we'll talk about all these people, and I just want to know how positive they are or negative they are, their will, and how they are helping in mobilizing the masses for this particular thing, because you can't do this project in Hoima, wherever you are, the Albertine region, and it just looks like it's somebody's program from Kampala, not even the people living in the area.
Exactly. So what we started with, first you have to educate the leader. So first we have had workshops, and we have had all these trainings with the leaders, the LCs, the RDCs, to explain this is what the process is going to be about, this is what this oil is about, and they're really on board, and they are helpful, because then it becomes easier once the leadership buys into the idea. It becomes easier to cascade. But of course, human nature, even after the leadership has come and after you have convinced a certain number of people, there will always be that percentage that have their spirits in one tree. So the Katumba issue where a family has refused to move. So then you just have to see how to deal with these individuals one-on-one basis and see how you can help them. You hear them out, because this is their God-given property, so you can't force them. So you listen, although of course sometimes it causes a lot of delay, but you must pay attention to the issue and make sure that it concludes successfully.
To the naysayers who actually say we are chasing air. Why? Because we've over-borrowed, and even when we get into our oils, we're only just getting oil to pay the debts that we've already consumed, because we do not have very good priorities, etc., etc. Now, we have these also amongst us, and there's no much hope. I assure Ugandans that really, when we get there, because when people know that oils are coming, like I told you, to a common Ugandan is, they think, and I think I want you to talk about that. Will I go to the petrol station from my home and find a liter that is at 51.60 today when it's at maybe 2,000? That's how Ugandans want to understand the things. So to the naysayers, we're only going to pay debts that somebody has actually accumulated and maybe stolen from us. So even when the oils are here, we don't expect to get much.
Okay. So as I don't know how I can explain this in so much great detail that people appreciate what this project means. I want you to understand the immense opportunity we have here. We have a second international airport being constructed.
At Kabale.
At Kabale in Hoima, not this
The other
one.
is called Kabale.
The other one is Kabale.
This is called Kabale.
So we have a second international airport. Now, when you go away from looking at the oil per se, you need to understand the sectors that the oil will open up, okay? And a second international airport in Kabale leads to a lot of tourism, for example. A second international airport...
The aviation industry grows.
Yes. Tourism, hotel, that will increase because now Hoima will have to build more hotels. Building more hotels leads to more employment opportunities because you need the people to work within these hotels. Students have done hotel...
Better livelihoods.
Yes, better livelihoods, of course. Students are doing hospitality at campus. Now here comes a humongous amount of hotels. They will have places to go into. A second international airport means that your product, whatever you are selling, can now reach the international market. A second international airport means agriculture in that place. Now we are also going to have an industrial park near the refinery. So that, because you see when you sieve oil, let's use very simple terms, if you use a sieve to sieve oil, the things that remain on the kasengeja after the nice oil has passed through, those things are then input into industrialization for other products. So we have a full industrial park. That industrial park itself will create employment. But then the outputs of the industrial park, things like fertilizers, polypeptides, methane, these are things that then pump into other industries. So Nice House of Plastics will no longer need to import whatever chemicals they are using for plastics. They will just go to refinery here in Hoima, and that will reduce on their costs. Yeah. Then those other fertilizers will be used in country to create, so that also opens up the agriculture industry, implying that if I'm into farming, now I can get very good fertilizer from near here instead of going to import. Once we start decreasing importation and increasing exportation, that is more inflow of cash. Once people are more employed, we are all paying tax, that is inflow of cash. That leads to better infrastructure, roads, hospitals, schools. The country then becomes so easy to access because I can now drive from Masaka to Hoima in an hour. The roads are good, they've all been constructed to aid oil. But while they were constructed to aid oil, they're aiding other things. They're aiding me now supplying milk from Tiruhura all the way to Hoima. You see, things that you could never have done because now you imagine, now I take oil to Hoima, what time will we get there? These people coming into our country with very high technology are going to understudy others. They're going to teach us, they're going to give us that technical power. So our young children in universities will easily get intelligence and resource education from learning on the job, things that we don't have now. It's a multiplier effect that is immense, and that will take our country so far. Okay,
don't you think that this is one of the things that you should be telling the people regularly as a daily prayer? Because I think what you just said now, it is more comprehensible to the people than to even actually tell them about 2025 when they all get here. Because somebody wants to know that multiplier effect. That even if, well, I may not even have a car today, so I don't really care whether petrol at the petrol station is at 2,000 or 3,000 or even 1,000. I don't have a car. I'm driving a taxi and that will be it. But once I know that I'm getting fertilizers for my bitoke, I am getting that for my business, I am getting that, maybe I think I should actually wake up every morning, pray and say, oh God, this thing should happen tomorrow for me to benefit. But the prices, for those who want to know about the prices, like we said, you know, today when we talk about anything, the increasing prices of commodities, then they will say, Tola petrol station, I'm after galinye. So, and of course everybody will say, True. Yes. So when we have our oil here, will it now move from 5,160 to maybe 1,160 or what? What will happen?
Before this oil sack that we have hit now, our oil wasn't always at this cost.
No.
So I want you to understand that the oil price is not being hiked by the lack of us having oil in country, okay? So I don't want you to have this huge expectation that once we produce oil, we'll start paying 100 shillings. Our oil must also be marketable on the international market. So we can't reduce it so much to that level that it becomes so cheap and gets us nothing. So we must keep it at a certain price that it will bring us resource as well. But yes, it will improve a certain amount. But also, as I explained to you, people are so focused on the actual oil than on what the oil can do for us.
That's why I told you that what you just said, you need to pump that. It should be daily prayer for somebody.
Yes, it really should be.
Yes, don't focus on the oil, but what the oil can actually do for us.
Yes, the oil is a great resource, but greater than the oil is, first of all, how many people in Uganda understand oil? But so many people are farmers. So many people are mothers. So many people are doing these other small businesses, saloon. Does a person in the saloon know that they can benefit from this oil? Because if you put your saloon, your barber shop, across the petroleum line, the pipeline, then you get to cut people's hair. And that way you make money. There's a person that has a clothing, you do Ntunda Mukadde, you're selling clothes. Did you know that you can benefit from this oil and gas? People have to get dressed along these, within these oil spaces. So if you put your shop there and you sold the blouses, did you know? I want to bring it down to that level where everybody knows that they fit in, that this oil is not something that is extraordinary for a specific group of people. Everybody fits in with whatever skill you have, with whatever business. Let's bring it home to communications now, the media, the station and the televisions. And when all these things are happening down there in Hoima, UBC will not sit here. You will probably need to open up a branch so that you can constantly inform the Ugandans on the process. And when you open up a branch in Hoima, that leads to employment. And that employment will then lead to me, who is being employed by UBC, paying for matoke for myself in the market. So that lady who I'm buying matoke from is also taking oil money. So it's that kind of multiplier effect that I think we need to put on a chart and explain to people that oil is wonderful. But if you didn't do oil and you have no understanding of oil, it is still okay. You just see where you fit, which piece of the puzzle you can fix and then fit yourself in there.
We talk about it as oil and gas. What is gas and what is gas?
Okay, so most times when you pull oil out of the ground, it has associated gas with it. So we are making it able that we can pull that gas out. Okay, the usual gas that you know that will help you in your heating, in your cooking systems. So we will also go into gas processing, which is part of the midstream activities I had explained to you. So oil has associated gas most of the time. So there's a technology that you will use to sift the gas out, leave the oily side, process the oil and process the gas, and then also sell that gas. Yes, so we are also in that kind of business. Okay,
very important. Challenges, because this can't happen without any challenges. There could be challenges from all stakeholders.
Yes, of course there are challenges which we try to mitigate. For example, there's a challenge of the fact that this kind of businesses, they require income. So if you have started a business, you might need to take a loan for your business to grow and be able to supply oil, and then the loan interest rates are a bit high and that might hinder you. We also have challenges on the high standards that are required in the oil and gas space, and most Ugandans, we have this kanagwira mweyo kind of attitude. You don't do the thing to perfection and you say it will somehow sort itself out. Now this is something that is not acceptable in oil and gas. Tulumbe. So you kulumba without a plan and then it could lead to death, it could lead to so much chaos. So you need to have those excellent skills in oil and gas. You have to have high standards of excellence in performing, even if you are bringing tomatoes to a camp. Now imagine you bring rotten meat to a camp and an entire camp gets sick and jobs stop. A pipeline is not being built because you supplied to a camp bad food. You can see the amount of chaos it can cause. So that kind of standardization hasn't yet happened in Uganda, but we are working towards it. We have been doing so many workshops and educating people on standardization. And then we also do a lot of subsistence, You know, you're doing a small cap project for yourself and your family, and so those small scale doesn't help to fit into the market, because what you have will not be sufficient to supply. And that is why we are going around asking people, please form associations. You're supplying 200 liters of milk. This cannot even be a small fraction of what is required. Find other people. Don't have this level of selfishness where you want to benefit alone. Find other milk suppliers. Let the milk now get into 5,000, so that because this milk will be required on a daily. And now you're bringing 200 liters on a daily to supply how many people? So we are going around asking people, form associations, please form associations. So yes, there are those kind of challenges, and then people really staying away from the oil and gas space and thinking it's very out there, it's for a certain group of people, they are very educated. And so we are trying to sieve it down, explain it in simplicity, and explain to people that you can get it regardless of the job you do.
Thank you very much, Angela. Finally, in just 1 minute, I want you to sum it up all in just 1 minute, and make that one conclusive remark to your viewers.
Yes, I just want to appeal to the people of Uganda and let you know that you can tap into the oil and gas space. You can benefit from our resource, God-given resource, whatever you do, whether you are a farmer, whether you are a barber, whether you own a disco because people need entertainment. Please go into the National Supplier Database, see where you fit. And if you don't fit anywhere on the National Supplier Database because you have no registered company, just be interested, read up a lot, understand the oil and gas space, and then make sure you form associations so that you can supply the market. This oil is for me, it is for you, it is for all of us. Do not be left out. The next 5 years are going to be so humongous in the development of our country, and you should not be left behind. And if you need more information, you can check on our website, www.unoc.co.ug. We have so much information there. You can also check up on the PAO website and on the ministry website. There's a lot of information. Or you can come to our offices on Plot 15, Yusuf Lule Road. Can look for me. I'm free to talk and explain things to you. Yes, but please be interested. The country is open for business, and I hope that at the end of 5 years, we shall all have benefited. Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Angela Karisa, a communications expert from the Uganda National Oils Company. Thank you so much for having graced us with this time this morning on our Good Morning Uganda Extra to talk about these issues. And of course, the ball bounces back to you, Ugandans. There are lots of opportunities. Now, just imagine 160,000 jobs, direct, indirect, and induced jobs, and you are not anywhere in those fractions. It just looks very bad. Now, don't wait for the oils to say, let me wait for it at the petrol station, then we'll go with my Bajaj and maybe refuel it. But it's up for all of us, and let's embrace it and do what we can do to see that we actually get there. We'll stop this year for today, and just remind you that Behind the Headlines will be coming on at 10 p.m. tonight. My name is Jagan Asemakola Zeksoka. We will turn tomorrow. For God and my country, shalom.